Today we're covering the story of Jenkem and whether the good people of Florida were fermenting human sewage to get high. So what's the story behind this? Well, the scene is set in Palmetto Ridge High in 2007, where a student tells their parents about a new drug they've heard about called Jenkem. Allegedly, Jenkem originated in Africa, wherein people were fermenting human waste to generate a gas that could be inhaled to give a high. Somehow this playground rumour transforms into an internal bulletin from the Sheriff's Department of Collier County in Florida. Shown here. It includes all the talking points, such as Palmetto Ridge High, originating in Africa, and that Jenkem is a homemade substance which consists of fecal matter and urine. The alleged way to create Jenkem is to combine 1 part fecal matter to 3 parts urine in a bottle, place a balloon over the top and leave it in the sun for hours to days. Over that time, there's a fermentation occurring whereby some kind of gas is being produced that could be huffed to give a euphoric high similar to cocaine, but with a very strong hallucinogenic aspect to it. It goes on further to say that ingesting the gas typically produces a high in 10 seconds, which is incredibly fast, with hallucinations becoming most intense after approximately 20 minutes. Later, you would feel out of it for several hours or even days. Of course, the unnamed subjects who have apparently used Jenkem say that they disliked the taste of sewage in their mouth, and that would also last for several days. Now, this internal bulletin was marked confidential, as you can see below, but such a spicy document is not easily contained, and it quickly breaks free of Collier County's Sheriff's Department. While we're here, worth appreciating some of the slang terms, which include winnie, shit, waste, butt hash, and my favourite, Leeroy Jenkens, which you may need to be a bit older to appreciate. Needless to say, when this reached the internet, it went wild. Much of the information can be sourced back to an individual known as Pickwick, who posted several images on a forum and claimed to be the first person in America to huff his own shit gas, as noted down here. Many of the details in his posts could later be linked to the sheriff's document. But the story got even better when several legitimate news sites pick up on the story, including the following. So at this point you've got to be thinking this is a hoax, right? And the answer is yes, 100%. If you dig into the reports, the most concrete it ever got was the following statement by narcotics investigator Neil Bradley. I've heard some things, and I'm sure it's out there, we just haven't made any arrests yet on it. So when the story started to gain traction, Pickwick quickly admitted that the whole thing had been a hoax, and he did so on the forums where he'd made the first posts. He provided details on some of the alleged images, including that the poop was really flour and water dough rolled in Nutella, whereas the piss was beer and water. He concluded by saying that he never inhaled any poop gas or got high off it. After stating he deleted the pictures, he rather optimistically hoped that no weirdo saved them on his computer. But from my presentation you can see that that did not actually happen. And while undoubtedly he was telling the truth, the internet never forgives and it never forgets. So where did Jenkem come from originally? Well, there was this one article from way back in 1999 set in Lusaka, Africa. This report is likely the real deal and probably served as ground zero for inspiring the later 2007 outbreak in Florida. So to conclude, there's no concrete evidence of Jenkem ever being found in the United States of America, or interestingly in Africa when it was reinvestigated years later as a result of this story. After a relatively brief amount of time, a call was made that the Collier County alert may be full of shit. And all of this was yet another instance of the media overhyping misinformation through poor reporting practices. And no doubt everyone learnt a valuable lesson not to take what we hear on the internet as gospel, and so they never did again. That's all I have for today. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe.